So you're here for the University of Life Coach Training info call. If you're new to my world and you've never experienced me, this is how it goes. It's pretty much like coffee talk. I'm a master certified life coach and coach trainer. I will celebrate my 14-year anniversary in April. I'm the author of a couple of books. My first book was called Create Your Own Luck, and I published that, wow, 8 years ago. And my most recent book is called Bear, and I'm very proud of Bear. It's basically an anti-diet approach to loving the skin that you're in. And I just finished my third book. We are about to start pitching it to publishers, called Bold, which is the Bear methodology for girls. So we're really hoping to get ahead of the curve and save girls from diet culture. I am also the creator of the University for Life Coach Training. So I have been training coaches for 13 years, and I'll talk more about that here later. I'm also a wife and a mom. I have been married to the Silver Fox for 27 years, and I have a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old. And I would love to know what you're obsessed with in the chat. I think it's important. I'm obsessed with a lot of things. Right here we say Beyonce and running. I'm also obsessed with Peloton. I am obsessed with helping you get what you want. So let's talk about it. What are you currently obsessed with? And while you're typing into the chat, there's some pictures of my family. So that's Ryan and Cora, Moses the cat, who's now bored and going to sleep. And this is my new grandpuppy, Caesar, who is hilarious. Here's just a little social proof, as we call it. Once upon a time, I was in Oprah magazine. I also gave a TEDx talk about smashing diet culture. These are just some media appearances I made on my book tour. And I really want to dive in, though, more to helping you figure out if life coaching is right for you. And if you're already a life coach, why training with the university might be right for you. So do yourselves a favor. Give yourself this time and space to learn more and get what you came for. So like close your tabs, turn off your phone, or at least mute it. And if you're like my husband, I swear to God, he is incapable of muting his phone. I can't. He saved me a place in line for voting, early voting. I guess it was a couple weeks ago we early voted. God, all my weeks are like blending together. And he was texting me to tell me exactly where in the line he was. And I didn't have to even search for him because there was a loud phone that went off. I'm like, oh, there he is. The only one who can't mute his phone. So mute your damn phone. So yes, I have trained coaches for over 13 years. After I became a certified coach in 2007, I immediately went for my master coach level training. And when I completed that, Dr. Martha Beck, who trained me, hired me to run her life coach training program and her master level coach training program. And I did that in addition to running my own business for a couple of years until I passed the baton. And then was training coaches in my own methodology, all this time. So let me just stop, and I want to see how many of you are already coaches and how many of you are considering being a coach. I would love to know. Oh, and you guys are put what you are obsessed with. Hi, Melissa Russell, self-care, your dog Fasha, like fascia release, and your new king size bed. I have a queen size bed. Talk to me, Melissa. And we're, as you know, because you can probably hear the drilling, we are doing some home renovations. And after the holidays, I would love to start working on my bedroom. And I want a king size bed, and my husband is offended. He's like, why do you want to be so far away from me? Brittany's considering being a life coach. Okay, awesome. Pearl Jam. Melissa says, I want to help women reclaim their body after breast cancer. Oh my God, so near and dear to my heart. Paddle boarding, cooking. That's somebody from my team logged in as me. Fine cocktails and wine. Who is that on my team logged in as me? I'm obsessed with Beyonce, spin classes. Brandy, we have so much in common. I'm obsessed with my Peloton. I love spin. Melissa's in St. Louis. This is so great. Okay. Mallory's trying to figure it out too. So Meg says, I've done coaching work with Hope Edelman. Oh, I love Hope and I love Cara. And I'm interested in learning more about coaching. You're in the right place, Meg. I love both of them. Hope is a Martha Beck coach, and she was actually very helpful in giving me advice on how to get published. And then Cara was actually a mastermind client of mine, and adore her. We're great friends now. So, oh, Brandy's in the Martha Beck program. Okay. And looking for something that's rooted in working with BIPOC folks. That's us. That is us. So let's get to it. All right. So some of you commented whether or not you're already a coach, if you want to be a coach. For those of you who might be new to coaching, a life coach is really someone who specializes in helping people get what they want. So if you've always wondered what it's like to make a lasting impression in people's lives, or be a happiness expert, help ease suffering in the world, help people create legacies and create legacies that change the world, that's amazing. Like, it literally, to me, it's one of, how do I describe what it's like? I am moved to tears on a daily basis, because of the miracles I get to witness, and the brave acts and the power moves that my clients make every single day. It is one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced, and to get to do it as my gig, I'm very grateful for it. So if you're someone who wants to help serve the world, like most people who have a heart for life coaching are wanting to impact the world in a wonderful way. And I'm here to tell you, you can do that and make a great living. So I actually just got an email right before jumping on this broadcast, and it was someone who was talking about that she was interviewing coaches, and she actually realizes that a coach she hired for just maybe a couple sessions isn't quite right for her, because this isn't someone who is embodying being a woman who wants to make a great living, right? And I think that if you want both of those things, the university is out to train you. What's interesting is that life coaching, while some of you may live in parts of the country where life coaching is well known and common, it's a $2 billion industry, according to Forbes. I live someplace where I'm only one of a handful of coaches in the Midwest. Where I live in Evansville, Indiana, it's a medium-sized town, say 150,000 people. And I could walk into any establishment, restaurant, place of business, of course, not right now because of COVID, and say, like, have you ever heard of a life coach? And almost every single person would be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So in my opinion, it's a baby industry. There are only 53,000 coaches registered worldwide. Now that's registered. Of course, there are lots of people who aren't registered or certified, calling themselves life coaches. But if you think about 53,000, that's nothing compared to if you Google statistics on worldwide, like how many real estate agents there are, how many insurance agents, how many teachers, doctors, accountants, all those things. So it's really a myth that this industry is saturated. We're really just getting started. It wasn't even like coined a thing until the 70s. And here we are in 2020, and most people don't even know what it is and what coaches do. I alluded and mentioned before, it's a deeply rewarding career. It's a growing field. Being a coach entrepreneur means that you can create your own wealth. So one of the things I love about this being my business, in addition to what I mentioned before of how rewarding it is to watch someone reconnect with a family member, or start a business, or stop dieting, or learn how to parent from a peaceful place. I love that I'm able to use this business as a platform to create wealth. And so some perks that make becoming a life coach a great decision are that you can train from anywhere. I say you need a home office. A lot of coaches get started from their dining room table, you know. You determine your own hours. So while I tend to have I have very consistent typical hours where I work or have sessions really from say 9 to 4. There are lots of coaches I know who work in the evening or who only work on weekends. So you can decide if you want this to be part-time, full-time, and what that actually looks like as you celebrate your life first and build your business around your lifestyle. And I mentioned this also, it's a platform for creativity. So one of the things that's been really amazing to watch in my own career is coming really full circle from when I started college. I was one of those people that wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I changed my major 4 times. I did graduate with a political science degree and a minor in women's studies, which shows up quite a bit in the way that I speak and talk about issues. However, I started as a journalism major and didn't pursue that because I had an English teacher tell me that I was really wasting my time, that I wasn't a good writer. And at 18, I didn't have the tools that I have today to understand that that's one person's opinion. Anyway, come all the way back to when I started this company, all of a sudden I had something called a blog. Like I could write however I wanted to write. And I have this amazing podcast mic. So I can have my own radio show, and I have a YouTube show called Go Time TV. So I'm able to flex my creativity in any way that I feel like it, because this is my business and I get to do what I want. And also, there are plenty of coaches who will tell you that learning these tools and applying these tools to their own lives, it helps my personal life. It could help the current profession that you're in. So if you are someone who's interested in these tools, but maybe want to envelop these tools into and apply them to what you're already doing, whether you're a school teacher or an HR professional or a doctor, it doesn't matter. I often joke that I could go back into real estate and could use these tools in new and different ways. I don't want to go back into real estate, let's be clear, but I could use these tools to really enhance that experience as a professional. It's also an opportunity, if you have the inkling, to create your own content and become a thought leader. So when I started this company, I did not have that ambition yet. But I'm here to tell you that the longer you do it, the more you will start to come up with ways that are your own, that you could really help people and help save the world. So I asked this at the beginning, like, are you already a coach and you're looking for additional or are you looking for additional training? So I would love to just pause here and hear what questions are coming up so far before I dive into some more helpful content. But I would love to know, somebody mentioned Brandy, for example, that she is already in coach training, but wants the diversity and inclusion training that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Princess says, I'm not currently coaching, but I've worked in a similar field for 7 years. What's such a great point, Princess. Like, there are plenty of people, and some of you may be part of them, that are in what I would call coaching adjacent fields. So you might be a chiropractor or a yoga instructor or a therapist or a psychiatrist, and or some kind of consultant or trainer that coaching tools could really enhance what you're doing. So feel free to drop in the chat if there's additional training you're looking for. All right, I'm going to go back to my screen share. Who wants to chime in on signs that life coaching might be a great career for you? What do you think some of those signs might be? So I absolutely have literally trained thousands of coaches at this point. And there are some qualities that I notice make the most effective and most profitable coach leaders, right? There are coaches that are really gifted at the art of coaching that aren't necessarily making the money they want to make. And then there are people who are making quite a bit of money in personal development, but aren't aren't that effective as coaches. I like to train the combo of gifted at the art of coaching and also profitable. So what do you think some of those qualities are? I'll tell you, the top would be empathy. If you are an empathetic person, you will excel at the art of coaching. There are people who are good coaches that are not empathetic, but they're typically in really specialized niches of coaching, where the topics don't require a ton of empathy, but empathy's at the top. Hi, Samantha. Samantha says, you're the person all your friends come to for advice and to talk to. Yes, that's definitely a sign that you're meant to be a life coach. Brandy says, I have 3 clients who sought me out. Awesome. Lead with empathy. Doesn't the world definitely need more empathy right now? Whew, we need empathy. Okay, so empathy is a top one. If you haven't ever taken the Strengths Finder assessment, it's a good one. And I took it in 2007 when I trained as a coach, and I read the book and knew what the 36 possible strengths were. When you take the test, they give you your top 5. And I had picked out what I thought the best strengths were. And when my results came back, the top one was empathy. And at that time, I didn't have the understanding I have today of what a gift that is. And I was like, oh, empathy, boring. Boy, was I wrong. It's the perfect strength to have as a coach. Being able to we can teach this as well, but being an attentive listener. So somebody mentioned like, oh, your friends come to you and seek you out. That is probably because you are an attentive listener. They know you're someone that they can share with, and you're going to give them the space to say what they need to say. Also, some of the best coaches I know are creatives. So if you are, and by creative, that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm a painter, a sculptor, I can draw really well. I think sometimes coaching is highly creative, meaning you can make connections that didn't already exist. So there's all kinds of creativity. Science is wildly creative, right? So let me know in the chat. I would love to hear how many of you feel like you are those things so far. Oh, my signs fit you so far, Princess. Yay. Brandy says, you think one of them is being non-judgmental. Well, let me tell you, Brandy, I have to say that I would agree with you. I think one of the things that people say to coaches all the time is, I feel like I can bring my stuff to you and you're not going to judge me in any way. You know, and that's part of creating that safe space. Is that they're not going to feel that you are imposing or projecting your value system onto them. Hi, Erica. One of my favorites, Erica Akamboye. Erica says, I'm 100% of those. Melissa says, my number 1 strength is empathy. Awesome. You're in the right place. I can tell, Melissa. also, the most creative and effective and profitable coaches are problem solvers. So that doesn't mean that you're solving your clients' problems. It means that you're able to help facilitate them solving their own problems, right? So what we train at the university is not that someone brings you a problem and you have all these answers and you're like, here's what you should do. That's actually not coaching. That's advice giving. And so we at the university feel very strongly about equipping our coaches with the tools to help the client unearth their truth and their answers. But you are able to use powerful questions to help your client solve problems. This is actually my favorite, that you have a palms up versus a palms down attitude, which means I would love to be of service to you instead of graspy scarcity. Let me just take from you and you're just part of a sales funnel, right? Palms up means that no matter what, like you are here to help ease suffering. That doesn't mean you're doing it for free. Don't misunderstand me. It just means that your overall vibe and energy is one of service. So here's why I decided to create the University for Life Coach Training. Like, why bother, right? There are many, many amazing life coach training programs out there in the world. And I celebrate them and have sent lots of business to them, but we're a little different. And I'm just going to stop my screen share and talk about this. So this has been, I think we can all probably agree, a really challenging year for a number of reasons. We have had the pandemic worldwide. We in the United States are currently in a collectively traumatic election season. Black Lives Matter, Supreme Court nomination, all here in the US. And what I noticed is I have been allying for a long time and working to offer trainings that are anti-racist. But what I noticed happening in the life coaching industry in general was a slow and an inadequate response to Black, Indigenous, people of color saying, we need leadership in this space that is anti-racist. And so because of my strong feelings about disrupting a very white male industry, Brandy says that's an understatement. Yay, Paula. I saw and was disappointed in my industry, to be quite frank, and decided I have been training coaches for all these years and had recently been focused on my coach certification programs were around BEAR. But if there's one thing I know how to do, it is to train a good coach and also to help that coach make money. And I thought it was one of those situations where I have the resources, I have the ability and have done so to assemble a team of faculty, curriculum specialists, and trainers who know how to bake in diversity and inclusion. And I have seen firsthand what it looks like when tools that are intended to heal are used by white people to create more oppression, and unwittingly, right? I don't think any coach goes into this saying like, I'm going to use this tool to help them feel further otherized. So I decided that the time was now. You know, when you look around for leadership and you don't see it, I was being called, I think, to do it. So how we're different is that we are first educating our coaches with a diversity and inclusion curriculum so that through that lens of awakening, then they can learn how to apply beautiful coaching tools and assessments in a way that celebrates all of us. I think that's really different. I think that's really different. Brandy says, it feels so lonely and disappointing if we really are in touch with our feelings. BIPOC folks are so conditioned to compartmentalize and keep going, but I'm over that life. Yeah. I agree. And so this isn't a situation where me, the white blonde coach, is going to deliver the goods, right? I have a star faculty of Black, Indigenous, people of color who will be leading this charge. So Kelly says, when you look around for leadership and don't see it, you're called to do it. Yeah. Not always convenient either. Right? I had different plans for the rest of this year in 2021, I assure you, but here we are, and we're going to kill it. By the way, can we get into this logo? Like, how cute is this logo in this notebook? Anyway, I digress. All right, so I just talked about a little bit how the university is different in terms of diversity and inclusion for our LGBTQIA+ folks. It's different also in that, in addition to that portion of the training, we have created a variety of assessments that I think through the diversity and inclusion lens, using these assessments before you even start working with a client, you will be able to meet them where they are. So assessing resilience and grit and things that I think sometimes when coaches jump the gun with clients and find themselves coaching in a way that not negates the client's experience, but definitely doesn't acknowledge where they are coming from. So I think that's also how it's different. And our mission is to empower coaches to work with all walks of life, so that if you get a client who is a Black queer woman, you're going to not, as a white woman, I'm not going to fully understand obviously her path, but I'm going to be able to coach her in a way that isn't oppressive. So our curriculum, we have, I get so lit up when I think about how this is going to disrupt and change the coaching industry. But this is a little sort of infographic that our beautiful Holly put together for us. But there's coaching fundamentals, the diversity and inclusion and ethics training. Then there's a portion called coaching excellence, real world practice, and coaching pathways. So it's a very robust curriculum that starts, what I mentioned, with assessment tools on where are they in terms of motivation and resilience and risk tolerance and change, because everyone is coming to you as a coach from a different place. And so it's great to be able to assess those with some of these cutting edge tools, so that you're not like giving homework that is very action oriented if you got to back this truck way up and start with helping them uncover what it is they really want. I mentioned there's also a huge focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. There's also focus on the actual tools, the art of coaching, and it is an art. I mentioned that it was a very creative endeavor, and it's coaching is not formulaic, which is another point of disruption where I want to make a change in this industry. I think far too often us coaches will take a tool that's handy dandy, like, let me just plug this in. And there is a real art to using tools and a real art to the uncovering of truth. And that's what we're about. So the art of coaching with our university includes vision, values, mindset, behavior, self-care, and sustainable change. So something that I'm known for in the industry is well, a couple of things. Being disruptive is one of them. I was going to say disrespectful, that too. You hear those drills? That's progress. I love working from home. I'm known for even my business coaching to be very pleasure-based and anti-hustle. The hustle isn't real, right? So we train our coaches on how to use tools in all these areas and apply them to their own lives. We also have a very robust coach mentoring program. So I have some of the best coaches in the industry as coach mentors, and a few of them are full-time with my company. We also have a certification process that is included in the price, so we're not charging extra for that. And a common question that we get really is, how will students be supported? And here's the deal. I just sounded like our presidential candidate, Joe Biden. Here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. We're big on support at Susan Hyatt Inc. So at the university, when you enroll, we have a coaching binder that you get. We have online resources. You're put in a coaching pod that's small, and you receive 6 months of training with us. These are just a few of our faculty members. We'll be unveiling the full faculty soon. We have Ericka Hines, who is my company's diversity and inclusion consultant, but she's also one of the faculty leaders and teachers. We have Mako Ward, who is a professor in Arizona, who has spent her career studying race and class and gender bias. She's one of the smartest women I know. Also pictured here is Patty Rantapa, who is a full-time coach with my company. And there are many unpictured, including Larissa Zazula. You will start to meet them. So over that 6 months, you get a lot of stuff. So like, how are students supported? There are 2 trainings a month that are live with me and some of our other experts. There are also recorded videos. So in addition to the live class time, we are having all of our faculty record supplement videos, learning videos for you. You're included, I mentioned this before, but you're put in a small group cohort. So no matter how large the training class ends up being, you will be put in a small group, and you'll be completely supported by your coach mentors through the entire training process. There are also 12 coach mentoring classes, meaning these are classes where you're going to be coaching and you will be observed and given feedback in a very safe and supportive coaching environment. This is also something that I'm big on. I want to make learning fun and safe for people and free to make mistakes and learn from them. So you will also have access to diversity and inclusion training videos. I also already mentioned videos with our faculty. We send you a welcome kit that has the curriculum handbook, 7 additional books we encourage you to read, and some gift surprises. I don't want to ruin it. I might have shown you one thing. We also include at the end of your training a what's next career planning session with one of our coaches to help you sort of map out what's next post graduation. And you also get, we're calling this a coaching packet, but it's a digital toolbox really that has client intake forms and coaching session guidelines and like all that stuff you need to get up and get started. So here it all is on one frame, 6 months of training that include 12 live classes, a bunch of recorded videos. We're saying 12 videos, but there's probably going to be more. Membership in the small coach mentoring cohort, 12 live coach mentoring classes, DEI training videos, your welcome kit, your what's next career planning session, and basically your digital toolbox. It's a one-stop shop for coaching practice, all the support that you need. The total investment for this program is $9,997, which if you research life coach training certifications, you will find that is very competitive especially for what you get. So the way that we're handling interest right now, and I'm going to be available for questions when I make it through all my slides. So feel free to start popping your questions in, but you can go to this URL. I know Mallory's probably popping it in the chat. When you click enroll now, then you can choose your investment level. So you can choose one payment or payment plan. And when you look at the payment plans, we have a $997 deposit, and then you can pick whether you want to break your remaining balance into 4 payments or 9 payments. And then once you pick your payment plan, this is what the screen looks like to enter your personal information. And then a team member will be with you shortly after you submit. So let's chat, shall we? So you can make application, you can talk to somebody. Right, Mallory's saying we also do have an application process. So you can book a discovery call with Patty or Larissa on our team, and they can talk you through what's included and see if it's a good fit. Brandy asked the question, I'm assuming that we can work while training so we can afford the training. Yes, absolutely. So a popular question, Brandy, around that is how much time how much time do I need to do this training? And so when you look at over 6 months, the number of classes that you have, I think you would really want to budget an hour a week to attend class, and probably another hour a week for any optional watching videos and doing homework. So if you could handle a couple of hours a week, you can participate very successfully in this training. Yeah, Brandy, I think it is very doable. When I went through my original life coach training program, it was set up very differently, but I was still working in real estate. And I created basically an exit plan for myself that I was able to, within 90 days, exit my current career and transition over full-time into life coaching. It takes some people a shorter amount of time and many people longer amount of time than that to exit out of their full-time gig, if that's what you want to do with life coaching. Okay, so Melissa wants to know, how important is it for coaching programs to be nationally recognized? Are states starting to regulate the industry? So the industry is unregulated. There's always a lot of talk about regulating the coaching industry because, unfortunately, I mean, there are pros and cons to this being an unregulated industry. The cons are that anyone can call themselves a life coach with zero training. And so in terms of, is it important for coaching programs to be nationally recognized? It depends on what you want to do with it. So when I went through Martha Beck life coach training, if you were an Oprah fan, you knew who Martha Beck was because she was occasionally on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She had a column in O Magazine. And that lended some credibility to that certification. But otherwise, nobody knew, most people didn't, the regular world didn't know who Martha Beck was. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I maybe only one time in my entire career had someone ask me, like, where did you get your certification? And, are you a member of the ICF? That being said, our curriculum specialists are working with the ICF to have this ICF recognized. My personal opinion is I have built a multi-million-dollar coaching practice without a nationally recognized coach certification. Even though I've taken many, many trainings, none of them are nationally recognized and none of them are recognized by the ICF. Now, if 100% of your business, or if a big portion of your business is going to come from corporate wants typically. Now, corporations have hired me and they did not care that my certifications were not ICF recognized. But what I know from my very corporate focused coaches is that if you want to work in corporate America, they do look to see if you're ICF certified. Brandy says, my ancestors certified me, so we're good. But Melissa, I can't answer the question about when and if states will start to regulate the industry. It's like every couple years there'll be like some new article come out about it, and everybody gets all up in arms and all up in a flurry about it. And I mean, I'm just kind of like, if the time comes, we'll just have to do what we have to do. But I have a feeling that there will be, like, if they start to regulate, that they will, like, it's not going to be like tomorrow you must be recognized by the ICF or you're out of business. It's like everybody will have time to do what they need to do. I don't know. But the University for Life Coach Training is going to jump through the hoops and eventually have the recognition of ICF. It's really money. And, like, I personally am kind of a renegade. So I'm like, I don't like people telling me what to do, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We have time, so I'm happy to answer any other questions that are coming up. Mallory just posted, if you're all in and ready to go. She put the link if you want to sign up. She also, prior to that, put the link if you want to have a consult call with somebody, make application. Mallory, I wanted to see, I think you may have some emailed in questions, so let me know.
Yeah, I actually just put one into the chat because I wasn't sure if anyone else was going to pop up. But something we have been getting a lot of questions about is on the website, it says certified in 6 months. I actually accidentally said 6 weeks on the chat. But they have been asking, like, is that something it's like 6 months hard, or is it something that can be spaced out? Like, what are the expectations with class load?
Right. So the actual program is going to run in that 6 months time. Your certification process can take as long as you need it, little or as long as you need it to take. So really, for certification, what we're requiring is a certain number of coaching hours documented, a 30-minute coaching sample recorded, so that we're just listening to hear that you're demonstrating that you understand how to use the tools. We'll probably have a couple other little things in our certification process, but it's not as if you have to do that and you're training within 6 months. A lot of people want to get certified right away, but hi, Kelly. Kelly says, tell me if it's too soon. If we've already been coach trained and we're looking for master coach certification, will your LCT be a prereq for master coach training? Yes. And the reason why is because of the diversity and inclusion, the very specialized way we're training our coaches. We feel very strongly that that needs to be, our coaches need to have that. So the answer to that is yes. And the first course begins in January. Whitney, you are correct. And then the next course, we're thinking of running this twice a year. So then the next course would probably start, I don't know if I'm going to start it like immediately after the first one ends, or if it's going to be in the fall. It'll probably be in the fall. I'm answering my own pondering. So we'll probably start, or we are starting third week, I think, of January, and then we'll start probably September, October for the next training. And yeah, we are, if we offer master coach training, it would probably be in the fall of next year, Kelly. And I love that you're thinking that way, because you the bomb. All great questions.
A question that I noticed hasn't been asked here, but we had it asked a lot last week when we did this, was people wanted to know if the price that we are running at right now is firm, or if they can expect that to go up in the future.
It'll go up. It's priced right now. I wouldn't call that my beta price, because I don't need a beta because I've trained coaches forever and ever. But it's definitely an introductory price. What we have curated here, and the caliber of faculty and the caliber of new innovative tools taught, is worth a lot more, in my opinion. And I tend to, when I launch something the first time, price it well, what I think it's worth. But this is like launch, like, I don't know, introductory pricing is probably what I would say. Brandy says, I've already dreamed up that you will hire me, so I'm guessing I'd better get trained by you. Brandy, what if I were to hire you, what would you want me to hire you to do? And yes, let's get trained, but I would love to know what your dream job is with Susan Hyatt Inc. I also think, you know, a big question that we get is, can I make any money at this? What about the business side? And I do definitely consider my company so well equipped, because a big part of our business is helping entrepreneurs make money. So like you would be in the stable of a team and a group of people who, that's what we do, is help female entrepreneurs make money, particularly life coaches, because that's my world. And so that's a business that we know. Oh, as a coach. Yeah, Brandy, if you want to get a job with Susan Hyatt Inc. as a coach, you definitely got to get coach trained by us. You work mostly with parents, but also with people in the giving and healing arts. And I love to help people, but I can say that I want to make a lot of money. Not ashamed to say. Great. I actually, listen, I had an interesting FaceTime conversation with my daughter, Cora, the other day. I've been talking about this a lot. I just recorded a podcast episode. It's not going to come out for a while, where I was talking about it, but she is in college, and she can be a senior as soon as the fall, because she took a number of AP credits in high school. And so even though she's a sophomore right now, she technically is a senior, which is wild to me. Anyway, she previously was saying she didn't really want to rush her college experience, and wasn't, she wasn't really interested in like fast tracking graduation or anything like that. Now she's decided that she may go for an MFA, and there's something else I'm not allowed to talk about publicly that is a pretty big deal that could happen for her. So my point in telling this story is, we were having this really philosophical conversation, and she was saying, hey, I think I think the job of my dreams that would bring me joy, which is being a poet, might not generate the kind of wealth that I want or the money that I want. And I'm like, who's your mama? But it was really more about her, how many of us, and I know this was me prior to becoming a coach, this notion that if you do what you love, you'll sacrifice a good living. And if you really want to make a lot of money, you just have to suck it up and not necessarily have a passion for what you do. And I'm here to say you can have both. And so we had this really great conversation about it. But I was like, you must choose what you love, and then we can figure out how to monetize that, should you choose. But I was like, at 20 years old, like really seeing that and wanting to explore that. And most adults are trapped in the golden handcuffs, if you will. Um, and I'm just, for women especially, I was saying to her, like, who's your favorite female politician? And she said AOC. And I'm like, I love me some AOC, right? She needs money if she wants to campaign. Like, you can talk all you want about wishing that we didn't live in a capitalist society, but the reality is that's the structure we're in. We can work to change things, but women need money if we want to have power. And I'm not ashamed to say I love money, love generating money, and I love doing amazing things with it to help the world. Brandy says, I really want to help BIPOC with limiting beliefs around money and feeling bad to become wealthy for fear of like a sellout, which is preposterous. I made 6 figures being a doula and everyone said not to do it because I would be poor. Perfect example, right? Perfect example. And amen. Let's help all the crappy thinking around what it means to make money as a woman, as a person of color. I could talk about that all day. Mallory has popped the application link there again. So I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for taking your time to show up to a presentation like this. I know you're all super busy. If you want to explore becoming a coach with someone on my team, feel free to snap up that application link. If you're already a coach and you want some additional training, I hope you'll consider us. We're doing things differently. I'm so passionate about it. And I can't wait to have my first set of certified coaches who are just gonna smash it up. So let's set the internet streets on fire together. Thank you so much, Mallory. Thank you for your time today. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm gonna go see what they've installed in these next rooms. And I have a couple of interviews this afternoon, but I will see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody. Thank you.